Hello, I'm Hector Elizondo, Emmy Award-winning actor, and I want to talk to you about getting older. My body hurts, my joints ache, and sometimes I forget. I forget that doing all your own scenes for a movie isn't always the best decision. Especially when you're galloping side-saddle down a countryside road on a horse named Archibello, who seems to have only one speed, high. And pulling on his reins only seems to encourage him to go even faster. So, of course, my body hurts and my joints ache, but it's not because of my age. It's because I'm living my life. Oh, Archibello!
Don't let life pass you by. Take care of your brain health. It may just help you stay on top of your game.
As soon as this scene wraps, I'm going to kiss the ground, thank Archibello for his outstanding performance, feed him a carrot, and visit brainhealth.gov.
Find out how you can make the most of your brain as you age at brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? Well, what's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents. And when a kitten has a litter of oopsies and a puppy has a litter of uh-ohs, pretty soon you have thousands and thousands of OMGs. And that leads to millions of pets being killed in shelters each year. But if 80% of people with pets say they believe in spaying and neutering, then what gives? Turns out that those sweet little fuzzballs can get pregnant sooner than you think. A lot sooner. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. You just have to remember one number, 4, as in 4 months. When you bring home Maggie or Ruby or Puddles or Clyde, get them fixed at 4 months old. It can be old enough to get pregnant, and it's definitely young enough to make a difference. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
And ecclesiastites all across the globe. Yes, indeed, it is I, your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live from the Bunker Eye studio, located somewhere within the snowed-in Granite State of New Hampshire. Yes, we got another snowstorm overnight. Not too bad this time, just a few inches. They're saying 4 to 7 inches total by the time it's all done later this evening. They already closed schools. I don't know. Are we getting too wimpy to send our kids out? Well, it's for the safety for the kids, right? We don't want them, the buses slip-sliding all over the place and kids got to walk, and we don't want them sliding. And the reason why we have to cancel is because the sidewalks aren't shoveled. And I mean, how far are we going to go to pamper our kids? No, I'm not saying put kids in any unnecessary danger. Absolutely not. But how far are we willing to go to pamper our children? Now, keep in mind here. Keep in mind that that pampering our children is not necessarily a good thing. China found this out, which is why China has dropped the one child only per couple rule, because China experienced the snowflake, quote-unquote snowflake revolution before the United States did. Well, but I don't know what our excuse is. Their excuse is simply because, people were actually only able to have one child. And that led to kids being ultra spoiled. Seriously, they were just ultra spoiled kids. That's when you have one kid, one child to dote on, and that's what's going to happen. But in any case, it's we have in this country, it isn't due to the one child thing. So how did we get snowflakes? Well, it's because all the kids that we do have. Even if we have 2, 3, 4, or 5, we pamper them all. And you go walk down a few years ago, and I did a friend a favor, and over the summer, a couple of months, I was an ice cream man. By the way, he's smartened up. He sold all his ice cream trucks. These were vintage, all of them. He had like 20 of these things, vintage. He sold the business and the trucks for a mint. And he moved to the Carolinas. So one year, I actually helped him out, and it was fun being the ice cream man. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I would, I thought about maybe buying one of the trucks off of him and running an ice cream truck. But in this state, it's difficult to be an ice cream. Just as a side note, even in this state, the wonderful Granite State, the live free or die state, do you realize you have to pay a bribe or ransom to every community you want to be run your ice cream truck in? I'm not kidding you. You've got to pay an annual licensing fee to any not just to the state. I mean, you got to register with the state and be, mobile restaurant and all that kind of stuff. So you got to pay the fee to the state. But if you want to be an ice cream man and run around that particular town or city with, the ice cream song, you got to actually pay the town too. It's extortion. But Sarah, if that wasn't a government entity and you actually had to pay a private entity, they would really call that extortion, because that's exactly what it is. But in any case, so I am the ice cream man, running all over all over these towns in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts, close to the border of New Hampshire, and you got the ice cream song running on your truck. But there are hardly any. It's hot, it's not hot, but it's sunny, warm summer days. Kids are not outside. They're not outside. The vast majority of them, they come running because, you got to turn up the volume on the ice cream truck song so they can hear it inside. And the vast majority of these kids and teens come running out of their houses to greet me, the ice cream man. They're not outside running, like the old Eddie Murphy thing. Ice cream! Mom, the ice cream man's coming! Because they're not outside. And they're not outside because parents would rather have their little chillin', sitting inside where it's safe. Not only do they have to be inside where it's safe from all the world's ills and harms. Nature can be terrible to children. Not only that, but if you got a 10-year-old kid who walks to the park by himself now all of a sudden you've got police departments running up on parents and saying, this is child endangerment, reckless behavior, and all kinds of other charges that they're tossing on parents because their kid is 10. And the police department doesn't think that the kids should be walking by themselves a couple of blocks to the park by themselves. Now, let's take that into consideration. How dumb is that? Because in a lot of communities, we will let kids who are 10 years old, walk up to 2 miles to school by themselves. But you can't walk a couple of blocks to the park when you're not going to. If you're going to a government indoctrination center, that's okay. The kid's safe. But if the kid is just outside playing and having a good, there are parents that have been. The kid was inside, front yard. Got the good old white picket fence up in the front, so the front yard is fenced off. 5 or 6 year old is out playing, and parents get arrested for not supervising their child. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you on this stuff. So no wonder we've got snowflakes. Because now we're a society that believes that we have to protect kids from even themselves at any cost. The whole bullying used to be when kids would actually push you around and punch you and harm you and try to beat you up and threaten to beat you up and extort your lunch money and stuff. That was bullying. Now, today, bullying is simply, you're a fathead. Don't bully me. Seriously, that's now bullying. Well, it's bullying, Rod, because they're calling him a fathead every single day. Oh, give me a friggin' break. That's how you produce snowflakes. Because they can't be told no. You tell them no and they freak out. You tell them to get outside and go get a job and live their own lives and they freak out. because they've had everything handed to them. They didn't have to work for anything. You get some 25-year-old. When I was a teenager at 17, I got a job at Abercrombie & Fitch. What do you mean I got everything? Really? Dude, please. I had a paper route getting up at 5 in the morning when I was 12. So what is it you work at Abercrombie & Fitch in the mall? That's not a job. In any case, I mean, seriously. I mean, these people, they just get the younger generation. We call them snowflakes for a reason, and the reason they're snowflakes, it's not their fault that they're snowflakes. This is how they were raised, and the nation, the country of China, realized that they have a couple of generations full of snowflakes, so they cut out the one child per family rule because it was becoming a nationwide problem. And when you got a billion plus people, and you have a nation that has at least 300 million snowflakes, that's a big problem. So, I mean. They realized back in the 90s that this was going to be a problem for them, so they cut out that thing and that snowflake-ism. And here in the United States, we just kept it going, and now we're reaping the rewards and benefits of raising a snowflake generation. And we continue to do it. It's the darndest thing. Well, why are these kids acting this way? Well, any child psychologist worth his weight, which there aren't many, and also isn't much, they'll tell you what the problem is with kids as they get into a young adulthood. It's because we've pampered them too much. Even the wonderful Dr. Spock on his deathbed recanted just about everything he ever wrote and said, I was wrong. He really did. I mean, people don't, it's not an urban legend. He actually did recant. And yet you still got people out there who are quoting, Dr. Spock said. Well, Dr. Spock said he was wrong. And all we got to do now is just look around and see the doctor. He was right in saying that he was wrong. And just saying. Any case, so the kids have a snow day. Remember when snow days were so special? They just didn't happen very often. They were so special, and because they were so special, they didn't happen very often, and people actually got... Do kids actually go out for snow days today? They don't go outside. No, they don't. They stay inside. Why? Because mom and dad say, stay indoors. It's too cold outside. The snow is going to melt and get you all wet. So, I mean, what do you do? Well, they play video games. I'm sorry. I guess maybe I'm just of the wrong generation. I used to love video games. I still love video games, but I do not see the allure of every freaking single day spending 8 hours a day playing video games. I don't see the allure in that. But it's just one of those things, you know. China's one-child rule is also forcing a very large lopsidedness, and there are a number. Don't get me wrong. There are a number of reasons why the Chi-Coms got rid of the one-child rule. And some of the reasons behind getting rid of the one-child rule is the snowflake syndrome, the spoiled brat syndrome. Another reason is because families, especially in rural Chinese areas, were they only could have one child, and they were having a girl. They would euthanize the girl so they could have try again and have a boy, and the population was getting extremely lopsided, and they were starting to have problems. Not to mention a lot of the Chinese women, because the available Chinese women, because the men were spoiled brats, even in their 20s, they were seeking a male companionship outside of China. So not only, kind of like black females here in this country used to complain about black men, Black men are turning to white and Latino women. They're not dating black women. Well, because they're scared of you. You're scary. But it's just the opposite in China. In China, the women didn't want to put up with all the spoiled brat Chinese men. So they decided they were going to be make themselves available to Korean, Japanese, and American men. Which even, that was also a big problem. Not to mention, China also now has, because there are so many males, China, the communist Chinese are not very, they're not very forward-thinking when it comes to the LGBT community. And they were finding that they were also having too many men being gay. In China. This is all recorded stuff, by the way. I'm not making any of this stuff up. People can look this stuff up and figure and find out the reasons why the Chinese government gave a multitude of reasons for ending that one child per family thing. But mostly it was due to the spoiled brat or snowflake syndrome, the euthanizing of baby girls so they could have boys, and the lopsided population that there is now of male to female. The male to female ratio is just awful in China. In the younger generations, just awful in China. So that's. But hey, we could have the same thing here. It's just that we're still more equal because people here are having 2 and 3 kids still. But they're still all snowflakes. So instead of just having one child raised as a snowflake, we're raising 2 or 3 at a time to be snowflakes. Just saying. I mean, in any case, we got more to cut than the snowflake syndrome to cover, and the real snowflakes, are coming down lightly here on the outside here in New Hampshire. 4 to 7 inches. I don't know. Maybe it'll be closer to that lower end, maybe 3 to 4 inches, possibly. I hear Atlanta's getting some snow too. Too bad for them.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Around the town when folks are snacking,
Bell's the brand you'll find them packing.
the great taste tells. If it's Bell, it's swell. At parties, dinner, or when you're lunching,
Bell's the brand that gets you crunching.
the great taste tells. If it's Bell, it's swell.
The
potato chip that's made today is fresh today to be crisp today. So dip away, eat them any old way, and let the chips fall where they may.
In the bag or boxed in the pack.
There's the one that keeps you coming back.
'Cause great taste tells. If it's found, it's swell. Hell, swell.
Government in a few days that is looking like it could shut down. Now don't be scared of a government shutdown, because if you're on the government dole, you're still going to get your checks. That's not going to be affected. You're still going to get your check on time. It's not going to be affected. And by the way, whenever we have a government shutdown and non-essential personnel and non-security personnel are sent home and told to stay home, not to come to work because the government shut down, they always seem to get their back pay. So it's like a free vacation that's not that a paid vacation for them. They know this too. Oh, geez, the government's going to be shut down for 5 days. Well, you get to stay home. Well, Mom, we're not going to make any money. No. Well, they always give it back to us, back pay. It's like a vacation. That's honestly true. But the one thing that we have to that Republicans should be clear on is I know that there's talk that Republicans, or some of them are thinking, well, if we let the government Democrats shut down the government, it's going to backfire on us. No, it won't. The reason why the Democrats are trying to pull your chain is because they know that you're going to capitulate to them because you're afraid of government shutdown. The reason that they want to shut the government, Paul Ryan did something pretty smart because he's tossing out the CHIP program. Hey, we're gonna try to really fund CHIP instead of this DACA crap. So it's kind of given the Democrats a dilemma, but understand it's not that big of a dilemma. Here's why: because the CHIP program is for American children. DACA is just simply for 800,000 or so, less than 1 million of these illegal immigrant children who are now adults. So now they're voting age. By the way. So that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter about the rest of the American citizenry. They're all about garnering some new, because they're losing. They desperately need to garner some new Democratic voters. And the only place that they're really getting them from is from immigrants that are coming across the border illegally. And they're trying to get amnesty for all of them. Believe it or not, the younger generation, Generation Z, is not really growing up all that liberal. They're looking at their older siblings who are snowflake, millennials, and think, you guys are just stupid. They're starting to question what their teachers are teaching them, believe it or not, which is a good thing. But they let them shut down the government. Because the vast majority of Americans want DACA to be to be deported. The mainstream media has just really, they've misconstrued what the American people are going to feel, who they're going to feel sorry for. I've noticed that there have been at least half a dozen stories about so-called DACA people. Who've been here for, 15, 20, 30 years. Some of them have kids of their own being deported. Well, they've had all that time to fix their status, and they chose not to. They chose to remain illegal. It doesn't matter if they married an American citizen or not. It doesn't matter if they had children or not. They have all of that anchor stuff, and they still couldn't find a way to stay legally. And they should. Well, and then a lot of people ask when I post stories like this, they ask, well, why didn't the family go back with them? It's a good question. Why didn't they go? But our life is here in America. Well, Daddy's from Guadalupe. Why don't you go back to Guadalupe with Daddy? That kind of stuff is happening. So they should just let them shut it down, because nobody's feeling sorry for them right now.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
Listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Friday's a deadline, I do believe, and this is also the weekend coming up is the first anniversary of. Now this is the last time. Well, it's not new. The last time we had a first year anniversary celebration, it was under W. Bush. It really was. Well, probably because we had just gotten into the whole war on terror thing. But Obama's first year was kind of celebrated by liberals, which is really kind of weird because that was at the time that they gave us the backdoor during the holiday season, Obamacare. But this year people are pretty excited about Donald Trump being in office for a year because Democrats were convinced that they were going to be able to get rid of him by now. Oh, they were. You better fix this shit right now. By the way, Donald Trump called. Well, he didn't actually say it. According to 3 of the 4 people who were there, he didn't actually say shithole. But there are a bunch of people running around when Donald Trump was elected, and the snowflakes are running around using all kinds of cuss words. Cursing out the American people. You better fix this shit right now. Remember that snowflake girl? She wasn't pretending either. She wasn't acting up like the what's his face guy from the Britney. It was the Britney Spears show in reality. Leave Britney alone. Remember him? Well, we got the Britney, Leave Britney Alone show in real life. They weren't hamming it up for the camera for YouTube. This was real life stuff that these snowflakes were going through at that particular point in time. And you know this to be true because all you got to do is just look at the inauguration day, and you had some of the snowflakes, sitting on the ground like a spoiled little brat throwing a temper tantrum, just screaming. Did they actually think because they were sitting on the ground screaming that would prevent Donald Trump from taking the oath of office? Evidently they did, because they had a scream fest all across the country. If you don't like Donald Trump, scream. Ah! So we had a scream fest. Who does that but a bunch of spoiled brat kids having a temper tantrum? What happens when 3-year-olds don't get their way? Oh, yeah, they fall out of the ground and they scream and cry and bitch and moan. You never let me do anything. I wanted this. I want that. I want that. And what do parents have to do in order to cut that stuff out? Well, they have to discipline the child. And what happens when they don't discipline the child? Well, usually the parent then just eventually gives in because they want the kid to shut up because they hate hearing him scream like that, and it's annoying. Not to mention if they're in public, it's embarrassing. So what does the kid learn? Oh, I'm not going to get in trouble for screaming. I'm not going to get in trouble for throwing a temper tantrum. I'm going to get my way. If I just sit here and flail on the ground and scream long enough, I will get my way. And if I scream long enough, and if enough of us scream, then Donald Trump will just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Hey, I just want you to be happy. So I'm not going to take the oath of office, or I'm going to resign now." I mean, really, is this what I wouldn't? Don't doubt that. I don't doubt that that's what some of them thought. Really, because that's how they've gotten through their lives so far. That's how they were taught. I wouldn't doubt if some of them actually believed that if they acted out or acted up loud enough and long enough, that Donald Trump would leave office. Well, it didn't work because Donald Trump he's from a generation where if you see a child throwing a temper tantrum, you don't give in to the child, you discipline them. You might even go so far as to smack him a couple of times on the butt and then sit him in the corner for 10 minutes. Or 30. That's Donald Trump. He doesn't go for that kind of stuff. His generation didn't put up with that. Kids of Donald Trump's generation were very well disciplined. The old notion, children should be seen and not heard type of thing among adults. That's pretty, you didn't act out. You didn't embarrass your folks. It didn't matter what your economic status was either. I mean, most kids were, that had a decent head on their shoulders and a conscience. They didn't want to do things that embarrassed their parents. And if they did something wrong or bad, the first thing they thought of is, don't tell my dad, okay? Not because they thought their dad was going to be abusive, but because they know it was going to be embarrassing to their parents, especially their father, and they would get severely punished and disciplined and grounded. Because that was the worst thing you could tell her. Hey, Jimmy, I'm going to tell your dad. You don't knock it off. And what did Jimmy do? But Jimmy straightened up like in a heart. Boom. Jimmy straightened up in a heartbeat, man. Today it's like, hey, little Jaquan, I'm going to go tell your dad and your mama. Yeah, go ahead, bitch. They don't care because nothing's going to be done to them. So this is we're coming up on a year that people are actually going to be celebrating, and there's a ton of accomplishments on Trump, and maybe on Friday we'll go over some of the accomplishments that he's already been able to do in the first year. And he's only got one major legislative victory, and that's the tax cut. I mean, you've probably heard all the stuff that these people are because the GOP was they were starting to get wary about the tax cut because they were paying attention and listening to the wrong people. So they were starting to get a little leery about the tax cut. Well, what if this doesn't work? We're going to get blamed for this. And not only did it work like Trump said it was going to, but it worked better than I think Trump even imagined it would at such an early stage. What are we, over 100 major companies now? Large and well-known medium-sized companies with lots of employees have given their employees real and serious hourly wage increases and or real and serious Nancy Pelosi's out there talking about these are just crumbs. Well, I'm sorry, if you're making $10 or $11 an hour, and your employer decides to give you a $1,000 bonus, that's real money to you, not crumbs. You want to talk about people being out of touch. Even if you're making $15, if you're making $30,000 a year, $1,000 out of the blue is real money to you. That's not crumbs. There's a lot of people who earn that. Well, it's not really that little, but there are a lot of people who earn the average wage and down. Yeah, and the median income is around 40 grand now, just under 40 grand. Yeah. Somebody who's earning 40 grand, $1,000 is a lot of money. That's real money that they can do real things with. It's not crumbs. Oh, sure, it's crumbs to somebody who's Nancy Pelosi's and Nancy Pelosi's economic stratosphere. By the way, living behind a wall and a gate. I mean, it's just unbelievable to even think or say that getting a raise from $8 or $9 or $10 an hour to $11 an hour is crumbs. It's amazing to think that a company giving their employees an annual bonus due to the tax cut that they're getting, of $1,000 to $2,000 or more is crumbs. Who would actually? I don't care how much it wouldn't bother me if I was making $100 grand a year or $10 grand a year. $1,000 is $1,000. That's not crumbs. Well, if I was making $100 grand a year and somebody said, "Well, here, I'll give you $100," I might not, bend over backwards for it. I might say, "Well, $100, $1,000, different story." You know what you can get for $1,000? Well, I mean, let's be real here. Let's bring it down to real terms. You could buy yourself a really nice new mattress to get a great night's sleep on for under $1,000. You can buy yourself a brand new big screen television. I'm talking about the newest flat screen things that are, they're 80 inches for under $1,000. You could pay off credit card, half of your credit card bill. For a lot of people, it's $1,000. You could put a down payment on a new car. Maybe not a brand new car, but yeah, you could even put a down payment on a brand new car. You could put a down payment on a new car. You could probably almost pay for a major repair on your old car for $1,000. New appliance, new washer or dryer, new stove, even a new refrigerator. You might be able to get with $1,000. But if you didn't have that $1,000, you wouldn't be able to do any of that stuff. Is that really crumbs? Is that really crumbs? I mean, that giving $1,000 to their employees could actually help spur the economy on even further because they're going to go out and what? They're going to go out and spend it. Most people aren't going to save it. Most people are going to go out and spend it. Remember, it was a big deal when Obama gave people back like $50 or something. It was a big deal when George W. Bush gave a one-time tax rebate of $200 or $300. Nobody called $200 or $300 giving them back $200 or $300 from the government is small crumbs. No, but companies who are saving millions of dollars on this new tax cut, who are going to repatriate billions and possibly trillions of dollars back into this country to spur investment. Nobody's calling that crumbs. But here we are saying that giving a bonus to people making 40 grand or less of $1,000 or $2,000, or giving them significant raises. I mean, you would think, okay, so Walmart is raising their minimum wage to $11 an hour. But there are companies that are raising their minimum wage to $15 an hour. And isn't that what liberals say that the minimum wage should be, is $15 an hour? So Nancy Pelosi was actually out there saying that raising wages to $15 an hour, what they've been demanding it to be as a national minimum wage, is just crumbs. So she just admitted that all she's offering people in this country through government fiat and through government giveaways is crumbs. Anybody else pick up on that? I know you people are smart enough to pick up on it. I don't have to tell, the general listening audience of this program that, because you guys are smart enough to pick up on that stuff. But you non-regular listeners, did you pick up on that? I'm telling you, if you guys need to hang around, on social media with the ecclesiastites more, and the super fans and the liberty lovers of this program, because they'll pick up on this stuff and tell you all about it. I'm not the only one. I got a super smart audience here, but usually the people who listen, I cannot listen to very long to a lot of the liberal radio programs, especially on the air. I feel the IQ being sucked out of me. Really, it's just awful. It is the stupidity. They keep on talking about stuff that has even, at least around here, that has already been debunked and proven to be wrong or a lie. Yesterday, they were talking, the tax cuts, they're not helping at all. Nobody's benefiting from the tax cut except the rich corporations that are now getting richer. Where have they been? Did they miss all of this stuff that companies are announcing and actually doing and handing the money that they're handing out to their employees? Did they miss all of that? Obviously, they're living in a bubble. Because they're still out there saying, well, corporations, they don't give their money away. They're not giving back anything. Nobody's getting raises. They actually said it on the air here in New Hampshire. Nobody's getting raises. I thought Walmart just announced that they were raising their minimum wage and giving bonuses. We got over 100 companies that have said that. But yet we've got these yahoos getting on the radio, on the air in New Hampshire, broadcasting New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts, telling their listening audience, who probably doesn't know any better, that Donald Trump's tax cuts have only benefited wealthy corporations because not a single worker has benefited so far from the tax cuts. Honestly.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
I do have some bad news to share with you about the economy, however, this is not taking the liberal stance on this, not at all. In fact, the bad news is really based on good news. And let me give you the good news first. The good news is that the economy is booming now, and unemployment levels are falling fast. The good news is that the U.S. energy market, especially the oil-producing market, is starting to boom. With rising technological advances in extracting oil from shale and other sources here in this country, we're rising above the 10 billion barrel per day mark, going up to 11. This is production levels that haven't been seen since the 70s here in this country. In fact, we are now by 2019, it is said that we will be over 11 billion barrels a day in production, putting us in range with challenging Russia, who's currently the world's largest single oil producer. Not OPEC, but Russia is the world's single largest oil producer, and the United States is now the world's single largest natural gas producer. We're exporting that crap to Asia like you would not believe. Well, it's not crap. But the problem is, with all that good news, the problem is that now there's a labor shortage. Trump has just opened up vast swaths of areas in the country to oil exploration and oil extraction. The problem is, oil companies don't have enough workers to man all the oil drilling rigs and platforms that there could possibly be out there. I know, go figure. There are not enough workers. There is a labor shortage now. Well, now is the time when you can, when everybody who wants a job and wants a good paying job, has a good paying job, now is the time when you start, that is when you start importing low-level, non-skilled immigrants. That's when you do that. You don't do that beforehand. So if that's the point now, all of these wonderful illegals can actually probably go back to their home countries and apply to come here legally, and they'd probably get entry. Because now we're going to start needing workers to fill certain kinds of jobs. Because Americans are going to be moving up to higher pay, and the wages are being increased on oil platforms. See, these people are making six figures just for being out in the oil fields. Yeah, that's crumbs, Nancy Pelosi, crumbs.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told. Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of french fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare.
I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound. It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Let's rock this joint!
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Wasn't Johnny Donovan. I just always wanted to say that because Johnny Donovan is a big name in announcers. Maybe I wonder what he would charge to do my intro. But in any case, gotta love that intro. I love the music. It gives you, you ever feel like you just want to get up and dance around? Well, every time I hear that, I kind of do that. But it also kind of reminds me of the good old, medieval type of stuff. The old Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Conan. The power and grandeur. That's what that sounds like, at least to me. I mean, if you don't agree, well, I'm sorry that you don't agree, but you should, because I'm right. Anyway, welcome back. Here it is, Hump Day, Wednesday, January number 17 in the year of our Lord 2018, which puts us, smack dab in the middle of the week and past the halfway mark for the month of January, which is the first month of the new year of 2018. When does the new year stop being the new year? I don't know. Maybe we'll take a poll. Most people say after you get through the first month, it's no longer the new year. Okay. But in any case, we've got a year coming up for President Trump this weekend. Just about a year ago, he was inaugurated, took the oath of office, and began dismantling the Obama legacy right before Obama's eyes. I don't know of any other president. Well, simply because no other president has ever governed the way Obama has governed. I got a pen and a phone. Well, I guess what he didn't realize is that a new president could come in with a pen and a phone and completely erase whatever he did. And that happens to be the case in this particular point. He's having his wonderful legacy completely and totally and utterly erased, simply with a pen. And you have some courts out there, some judges who are trying to hold, like with the DACA thing. This whole DACA program was instituted by an executive order, and a lot of people say it was an unconstitutional executive order. Well, Donald Trump probably agreed that it was unconstitutional, so by executive order, he's trying to remove DACA. And you got some judge out there in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals that said, no, you can't do that. And so the administration is they're saying, screw this. We're just going to go straight to the Supreme Court. And hopefully the Supreme Court will fully understand that the courts have no purveyance in determining, executive orders, unless the executive order is unconstitutional. So, otherwise, one executive order. I mean, Can you imagine if Obama wanted to remove the executive order that he instituted, and somebody took him to court, and a judge said, basically, this is what a judge is saying. Oh, no. Once you issue an executive order, it's the law of the land forever. That's basically what it's, and that's not constitutional. Just saying. So you have to understand it. When you're talking about executive orders, it's not coming from necessarily an individual, but it's coming from the executive, which is an office. And so basically, it's one continuous person with different personalities that function in the executive office. So you're basically saying that the executive branch cannot say anything against or do anything against the executive branch. Once the executive branch has issued a fiat order, it's the law of the land forever and ever and ever. Well, even Caesar could go back and could rescind one of his own orders. The emperor of all the known world back in the day. And if he didn't like a law so bad, and he didn't think it was going to be political suicide, he could change that law in a heartbeat. But I guess American presidents can't do that. In any case, here we are on this Wednesday, which means it is time for the Intel Report from our wonderful guy, from our wonderful Agent 0010, who is back again to give us a report on all the things out there that, of course, the lamestream media won't report on, or maybe even can't report on. Good morning, Agent. How are you doing?
Good morning, Rod. How are you doing?
I am blessed and highly favored.
Grooviness. Okay, listen, we got a lot to talk about today. I mean, a whole lot. So I'll just start right off the bat. Topic 1, Iran. It seems that throughout all the protesting and basically the rioting that's going on in Iran, they are requesting and demanding the return of the Shah of Iran. In other words, his grandson. They want a Shah and not an Imam.
Really? I mean, didn't they want to get rid of the Shahs?
Yeah, they got rid of the Shahs. The whole situation, I don't know if people understand what happened way back then. But what had happened was that you had a situation where you had some snotty, college-aged, elitist French students who were basically interviewing the Ayatollah Khomeini. And this interview was being transmitted via phone. And it was then recorded and then broadcast throughout all of Iran. So when the American embassy went down and there was this major coup and the Shah was deposed, these French students, they thought that they were only bringing spiritual awakening to Iran. Little did they know that they actually brought chaos to that country, or they helped bring chaos to that country. Ever since then, these students have been in hiding. These French students. Well, they're no longer students now. They're a bunch of dumb old men, but they're still in hiding to this very day. Their lives were threatened. So nowadays, as you know, the people that live outside of Tehran, which is the capital, are seeing what's going on, and they're angry, and they're being fueled with what they're finding out on a daily basis. They want the return of the Shah. And this is being led by the older generation, and the younger generation are following right behind them, saying, forget it. This isn't working for us. We want the Shah back.
Well, and now correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously the Shah was a banana dictator that was propped up by the U.S. because he was, at the time, things were flipped. Iraq was an enemy to the U.S. and Iran was the friend in the neighborhood, and so they propped up the Shahs, but the Shah was I guess what people were saying was a brutal dictator, and they brought him down, and then that flipped the whole geopolitical situation in the area, and that's when we decided, well, the enemy of my enemy, which was Saddam Hussein at the time in Iraq, he has got to be my friend. So then we started supporting him in order to get back at Iran, and now the rest is history. Obviously, with all that how all that went down. But are you telling me that these people they want to bring back basically a Shah is nothing more than an emperor or a king? It's just another title name for word king. So they want to bring back the Iranian monarchy.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They actually want it. Thinks if they want that back, how bad are things really in Iran if they prefer to have a Shah? That's what makes me think. I'm like, wow, it's worse than we think, or worse than we realize. Because if they want a Shah back in power, even though after everything you just said, well, things must be god awful right now.
Yeah, it must be really bad there. But I guess the other question is that would the old Shah's family even think about returning? Because there's still death orders on their heads. Are there not?
Yeah, there's still death orders on their heads. But think about this: if the current government is deposed, those death threats are now null and void. And if the temporary government requests for the grandson to return, because he's the only one that's living right now, the grandfather is dead, his father's passed away, the last remaining member of that dynasty is the grandson of the original Shah, well, then guess what? He can come back if he decides. If he doesn't decide, then they're going to have to select a different kind of government, which should be a true democratic government.
Well, I don't know how true democratic governments actually work in the Middle East. That just never seems to work out. But, well, I shouldn't say Middle East. I mean, because obviously it works very well for Israel, but Israel is not a major majority Islamic nation. So it's Islam that has a problem with democracy. But, yeah, well, okay.
Because of desire for power.
Yeah.
Now, we've been talking about the protests and the riots that have been going on in Iran. Well, guess what? It's caught on further south. Right now, another country that is in revolt is Tunisia, also protesting over economic situation, but in this case, it's over, overtaxation of everyday necessities, like water, like food. So Tunisia is now in full revolt, but unlike Iran, Iran finally has sent out their elite Republican Guard. Tunisia, automatically, they sent out the military.
Okay.
Now, there could be a situation where it could backfire on both countries, but Tunisia is now following the suit of Iran.
Now, how important is Tunisia to the region and to U.S. interest?
Very, because we lost Libya. We really have in that area of the African continent, we really have no one. We really don't, other than Mali. And Mali's kind of iffy at times. But Tunisia is very important to the Americans because the simple fact is they would replace Libya, but in even better condition. Because Libya was our frenemy. Tunisia can be an honest-to-goodness friend.
Well, I mean, North Africa is still in turn. It's. Can we really depend on any of them? I mean, because at certain times, we look at Egypt as a friend, and other times we look at Egypt and saying, well, they're not really a friend. Again, I guess using that term frenemy. Is there really anybody in North Africa that whether they be a shithole or not? Now, I wouldn't really call Egypt a shithole. It's a fairly decent country. So whether they be a shithole or not, is there any country in a nation in North Africa that we can actually depend on?
Yes, Egypt.
You think we could really depend on Egypt?
Egypt, think about this. Egypt had toppled their government. Then they had an election. And then all of a sudden, somebody from the Muslim Brotherhood won the election. The Egyptian military and aspects of the Egyptian government said, oh, hell no. We are not going to go back to this. And what did the Egyptian army do? They toppled that government. And then they waited for a true, honest elections to happen. Once those honest elections had occurred, the Egyptian military said, okay, we're out of the picture now. So Egypt is starving for some kind of true democracy, of true leadership, of true freedom. And they're having it right now. Because now it's the simple case that the politicians in that country are looking around and they're saying, if we don't do things right, the Egyptian military will step in yet again.
Well, the Egyptians have taken their peace agreement with the Israelites. Of lately, they've taken that peace agreement with them to task and to heart, and and offered a kind of what some in the Middle East would call an unholy alliance between them and Saudi Arabia and Israel. I mean, whoever would have thought that they would be friendly with one another, but yeah. So okay,
Egypt has become a country that we can depend on.
So out of all the countries in North Africa, I mean, not like there's a whole hell of a lot, but it's a large landmass which is called North Africa. They're the only ones.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, the area is
They're
a shithole.
Mali. Well, we've been working with Mali for decades now. The Malian government has been very friendly to us. We've been dealing and helping them with their terrorist situation. Because in Mali, that's the headquarters of the Aqim, AQIM, which is the Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. So they've been having situations with the Aqim, and the United States has had individuals down there assisting them as much as possible. And Mali has been very grateful, and they've been very kind, and they have been very friendly towards the United States.
Now, speaking of Aqim, and we hit back to go north a little bit to ISIS. What is the status of ISIS? Has been under Trump has been completely and utterly devastated. What is their status right now?
ISIS has just created another front, another battlefront. They've been fighting against Syria, against the Kurds, against the United States, against Russia. Well, ISIS has now formed another front line of combat. And you're not going to believe who they're fighting against.
Well, I probably would, because ISIS turns on just about anybody.
Well, the Egyptian branch of ISIS has declared full all-out war on Hamas, the Palestinian terrorist organization.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Listen to the tone in your voice. I knew I knocked you off out of your seat. I knew that would get you.
Why? Hold on. Before you answer that question and give us the reason why, we got to go to the break. And so can you hold on until after the break? Because this everybody's got to hear.
Oh, God, yes, of course.
Well, there is no love lost among thieves, right? Hold on, folks. We're going to get to this one.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
For most people, I am sure that last statement from Agent 0010 was kind of a bombshell. I know it was for me to hear that, ISIS and Hamas might go at it. The only problem with that is that Israel is caught in between the two of them. Otherwise, I say let them kill each other. But one of the things that we... The mental state of these people is just absolutely blows your mind when you start actually taking apart what they think that they believe. It's just, and it's no different from our wonderful liberals here in this country. And you're probably, well, how is that possible, Rod? Well, I mean, think about it. Everybody, they're all out there talking about how the president is mentally unstable, right? So the president goes for his annual physical. The president actually gets a mental evaluation from his doctors. The doctors come back and conclude that he's completely and totally and utterly mentally stable. But yet the people, now think about this for a second. Think about this. People who tell us that the president should be impeached because he called somebody or a country a name. People who think that there should be more than 2 genders on driver's licenses. And people who think that boys can become girls and girls can become boys simply because they want to. They're the ones who are mentally stable, and Trump is not. And we truly are living in an upside-down, backwards world. And this is just, think about that for a second. I mean, really, let that sink in, folks. Here we have a bunch of people telling us who are mentally deranged and mentally ill by even the loosest of mental health standards, is telling us that somebody else who has gone through, and not only has he gone through his physical, but we have these same wonderful people who've been saying that the president is mentally unstable, saying, well, the doctor was paid by Trump to say that. They're actually saying this. The doctors were paid off, or the real, Trump isn't releasing the real medical transcripts because it would tell a different story. So it doesn't really matter what. I mean, they could have one of their own crazy nut job medical professionals actually examine the president, and he could come back and tell them, well, yeah, the president's in perfect health, mentally and physically, and they would accuse him. Oh, they got to the president, or the president got to him. They got to him. We can't trust him anymore. Because it's all about what they want to believe, not really what is. And we have a bunch of people in the Middle East that want to, that in this country that believe that people in the Middle East the enemy can be our friend if we just let them. If we just show them and prove to them that we can be nice, we can love them, They can love us back. But, these people are just totally insane. Any case, we're going to get the Hamas down to the Hamas thing as soon as we get back with Agent 0010.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.